This video will walk you through how to set up a sync between objects in RAMP and your ERP system when building an accounting integration with the RAMP API. Setting up an object sync process allows your ERP to pull transactions, reimbursements, bills, bill payments, cashbacks, and transfers from RAMP into your ERP. After pulling the data into your ERP, you'll mark these objects as synced within RAMP to maintain consistency between both systems. Before we get started, make sure your API client includes the accounting read and accounting write scopes. You will also need the read scope for the specific object you're syncing. First, let's review the object sync process. This involves fetching ready-to-sync objects from RAMP, transferring the objects into your ERP system, and marking them as synced within RAMP. Objects in RAMP follow different patterns for when they become ready to sync with your ERP system. Some objects are automatically marked as ready based on their status, while others require a user to manually mark them as ready in the RAMP UI. Bills, bill payments, transfers, and cashbacks become ready to sync automatically once they meet the required conditions. Bills are marked ready to sync when they are approved or created, depending on how your accounting settings are configured. Bill payments become ready to sync once they are fully paid. Transfers are ready to sync when the transfer payment is accepted. Cashback payments are automatically ready to sync as soon as they are created. Transactions and reimbursements must be manually marked as ready to sync in the RAMP UI. To do this, go to the Accounting tab, find the transaction or reimbursement, and click the checkbox in the Action column on the right. While in the Accounting view, you can view Ready to Sync transactions and reimbursements by clicking on the Ready to Sync tab. Since bills and bill payments are automatically ready to sync, you can view them directly in the Bill Pay view. Ready to Sync transfers appear in the Cash and Treasury view, and cashbacks appear in the Payments view. Now we will demonstrate how to implement the object sync flow. The first step is fetching Ready to Sync objects. For this example, we'll walk through how to sync transactions. To retrieve all transactions that users have marked as ready to sync, make a GET call to the transactions endpoint with the sync status equals sync ready query parameter. RAMP will respond with a list of ready-to-sync transactions, and you'll want to keep track of the ID for each returned transaction. The next step is to transfer the data returned from RAMP into your ERP system and create the corresponding entries using the relevant accounting fields. After those entries are successfully created, the next step is to mark the object as synced within RAMP. To do this, make a post call to the Accounting Syncs endpoint to mark the objects as synced. For each transaction, include the corresponding RAMP transaction ID along with the ID that uniquely identifies the object in your ERP system. Once an object is marked as synced, it will no longer appear in the primary accounting view in RAMP. If an object cannot be synced to the remote system, you can include it in the failed syncs parameter of your post call to the Accounting Syncs endpoint. Add the RAMP transaction ID and an error message to report the issue back to the user in RAMP. If there was a failure syncing the object, the error will appear in the Accounting tab. When you click on See Export Errors, you can view the details of the sync failure. Now, let's review the different retrieval options when setting up object sync. You can retrieve ready-to-sync objects from RAMP in two ways. With the polling method, your integration periodically calls the RAMP API to fetch objects that are ready to sync, typically every 1 to 4 hours on weekdays and every 12 hours on weekends. You can also use webhooks, which push real-time notifications the moment an object becomes ready to sync. This eliminates the need for scheduled polling and gives you immediate updates when objects are ready to sync into your ERP. We've now walked through how to implement object sync. With object sync in place, your integration can reliably retrieve and sync accounting objects between RAMP and your ERP. This is a key part of building an accounting integration with the RAMP API.